Please like the video and share it so that it reaches many more people and you get sawaba, or rewards from Allah. This could be a sawabe jariyah or continuous reward for you long after you are gone.
The Companions, Volume 5, Book 57, number 1 to 118. Volume 5, Book 57, number 1. Narrated by Abu Sa'id al-Khudri. Allah's Apostle said, "A time will come upon the people, when a group of people will wage a holy war, and it will be said, 'Is there amongst you anyone who has accompanied Allah's Apostle?' They will say, 'Yes,' and so victory will be bestowed on them. Then a time will come upon the people when a group of people will wage a holy war, and it will be said, 'Is there amongst you a none who has accompanied the companions of Allah's Apostle?' They will say, 'Yes,' and so victory will be bestowed on them. Then a time will come upon the people when a group of people will wage a holy war, and it will be said, 'Is there amongst you anyone who has been in the company of the companions of Allah's Apostle?' They will say, 'Yes,' and victory will be bestowed on them." Volume 5, Book 57, number 2. Narrated by Imran bin Hussein. Allah's Apostle said, "The best of my followers are those living in my generation, i.e. my contemporaries. And then those who will follow the latter." Imran added, "I do not remember whether he mentioned 2 or 3 generations after his generation." Then the Prophet added, "There will come after you, people who will bear witness without being asked to do so, and will be treacherous and untrustworthy, and they will vow and never fulfill their vows, and fatness will appear among them." Volume 5, Book 57, number 3. Narrated by Abdullah. The Prophet said, "The best people are those living in my generation, and then those who will follow them, and then those who will follow the latter. Then there will come some people who will bear witness before taking oaths, and take oaths before bearing witness." Ibrahim, a sub-narrator, said, "They used to beat us for witnesses and covenants when we were still children." Volume 5, Book 57, number 4. Narrated by Al-Bara. Abu Bakr bought a camel saddle from Azib for 13 dirhams. Abu Bakr said to Azib, "Tell Al-Bara to carry the saddle for me." Azib said, "No, unless you relate to me what happened to you and Allah's Apostle when you left Mecca while the pagans were in search of you." Abu Bakr said, "We left Mecca and we led continuously for that night and the following day till it was midday. I looked around, searching for shade to take as shelter, and suddenly I came across a rock, and found a little shade there. So I cleaned the place and spread a bed for the Prophet in the shade and said to him, 'Lie down, O Allah's Apostle.' So the Prophet lay down and I went out, looking around to see if there was any person pursuing us. Suddenly I saw a shepherd driving his sheep towards the rock, seeking what we had already sought from it. I asked him, 'To whom do you belong, O boy?' He said, 'I belong to a man from Quraysh.' He named the man and I recognized him. I asked him, 'Is there any milk with your sheep?' He said, 'Yes.' I said, 'Will you then milk some for us?' He said, 'Yes.' Then I asked him to tie the legs of one of the sheep and clean its udder, and then ordered him to clean his hands from dust. Then the shepherd cleaned his hands by striking his hands against one another. After doing so, he milked a small amount of milk. I used to keep for Allah's Apostle a leather water container, the mouth of which was covered with a piece of cloth. I poured water on the milk container till its lower part was cold. Then I took the milk to the Prophet whom I found awake. I said to him, 'Drink, O Allah's Apostle.' So he drank till I became pleased. Then I said, 'It is time for us to move, O Allah's Apostle.' He said, 'Yes.' So we set out while the people, i.e. Quraysh pagans, were searching for us, but none found us except Surah bin Malik bin Jusham who was riding his horse. I said, 'These are our pursuers who have found us, O Allah's Apostle.' He said, 'Do not grieve, for Allah is with us. Volume 5, Book 57, Number 5. Narrated by Abu Bakr. I said to the Prophet while I was in the cave, if any of them should look under his feet, he would see us. He said, O Abu Bakr, what do you think of 2 persons, the third of whom is Allah? Volume 5, Book 57, Number 6. Narrated by Abu Sa'id al-Khudri. Allah's apostle addressed the people saying, Allah has given option to a slave to choose this world or what is with him. The slave has chosen what is with Allah. Abu Bakr wept, and we were astonished at his weeping caused by what the Prophet mentioned as to a slave of Allah, who had been offered a choice. We learned later on, that Allah's apostle himself was the person who was given the choice, and that Abu Bakr knew best of all of us. Allah's apostle added, the person who has favored me most of all both with his company and wealth, is Abu Bakr. If I were to take a Khalil other than my Lord, I would have taken Abu Bakr as such, but, what relates us, is the Islamic brotherhood and friendliness. All the gates of the mosque should be closed except the gate of Abu Bakr. Volume 5, Book 57, Number 7. Narrated by Ibn Umar. We used to compare the people as to who was better during the lifetime of Allah's apostle. We used to regard Abu Bakr as the best, then Umar, and then Uthman. Volume 5, Book 57, Number 8. Narrated by Ibn Abbas. The Prophet said, if I were to take a Khalil, I would have taken Abu Bakr, but he is my brother and my companion in Islam. Volume 5, Book 57, Number 9. Narrated by Ayub. The Prophet said, if I were to take a Khalil, I would have taken him, i.e. Abu Bakr, as a Khalil, but the Islamic brotherhood is better. Volume 5, Book 57, Number 10. Narrated by Abdullah bin Abi Mulaika. The people of Kufa sent a letter to Ibn Zubayr, asking about the inheritance of paternal grandfather. He replied that the right of the inheritance of paternal grandfather is the same as that of father if the father is dead, and added, Allah's apostle said, if I were to take a Khalil from this nation, I would have taken him, i.e. Abu Bakr. Volume 5, Book 57, Number 11. Narrated by Jubair bin Mut'im. A woman came to the Prophet who ordered her to return to him again. She said, what if I came and did not find you? As if she wanted to say, if I found you dead. The Prophet said, if you should not find me, go to Abu Bakr. Volume 5, Book 57, Number 12. Narrated by Ammar. I saw Allah's apostle and there was none with him but 5 slaves, 2 women and Abu Bakr, i.e. those were the only converts to Islam then.